Japan Journal, the world in focus. You've been inundated with headlines all week, but what truly matters? Japan Journal, the world in focus, dives into the story and gives you the clarity you need. Every week, veteran journalist and Hall of Fame broadcaster Mal Adams brings you expert insights, compelling narratives, and unique perspectives from Japan and beyond. Produced by Totown Communications Company Limited for GNN, the global news network, Japan Journal is the Internet's #1 English-language weekly online cybercast from Japan. Tune in and make sense of the world through the eyes of a 55-year broadcast veteran with a legacy of journalistic excellence. Subscribe now on YouTube and join our global community. You'll be glad you did.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to this special investigative report on Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams. Today, we delve into one of the most alarming events in modern American history, the January 6th insurrection at the United States Capitol. This was more than just a riot or protest. It was a coup attempt, a direct attack on the heart of American democracy, shaking it to its core. Through this report, we will explore 12 reasons why this is true, drawing from history, political analysis, and the ideological forces that have led to this moment. This is a message to the Black man of America as well as to all Americans, a call to vigilance in these uncertain times. The January 6th insurrection marked the culmination of years of eroding democratic norms under the Trump administration. The refusal to accept the results of a free and fair election, a cornerstone of democracy, was fueled by baseless claims of voter fraud. This rejection of truth mirrored authoritarian regimes where power is prioritized over democratic principles. Evidence for this erosion is seen in the months leading up to January 6th, with over 60 court cases challenging election results dismissed due to lack of evidence. Despite this, Trump's rhetoric amplified mistrust in the electoral system, a tactic historically used to undermine democratic governance. The roots of this distrust were deepened by social media, where misinformation about the election flourished unchecked. This digital echo chamber created an alternative reality for many Americans, setting the stage for the insurrection. At its core, the MAGA movement's philosophy, "Make America Great Again," carries an implicit message of "Make America White Again." This ideology is driven by fear of demographic shifts predicted to make Black and brown Americans the majority by the year 2030. Historically, the backlash against racial progress has been a recurring theme in American politics. From the post-Reconstruction Jim Crow era to the Civil Rights Movement, January 6th reflects this continuity as the insurrectionists carried symbols of white supremacy, including Confederate flags, and targeted a government increasingly representative of a diverse population. The Capitol siege was a stark reminder of how fear of racial equity can drive political violence, highlighting the urgent need to address systemic racism and its influence on American politics. Economic disparities among working-class whites have been skillfully exploited by Trump and his allies to foster resentment against minority communities. This tactic mirrors historical efforts to divide and conquer by scapegoating marginalized groups. The narrative of economic disenfranchisement, though valid for many Americans, was weaponized to blame immigration and affirmative action for job losses, rather than systemic issues like corporate greed and automation. This manipulation was evident in the rhetoric surrounding January 6th, where insurrectionists claimed they were taking back their country, a sentiment rooted in economic fear and racial resentment. Social media played a pivotal role in organizing, promoting, and amplifying the insurrectionist agenda. Platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Parler became breeding grounds for conspiracy theories such as QAnon, which framed the election as a battle against shadowy elites. The algorithms driving these platforms prioritized engagement over accuracy, creating echo chambers that radicalized individuals by feeding them increasingly extreme content. This phenomenon is not new. Historically, propaganda has been used to mobilize mass movements. The digital age, however, has accelerated this process, making misinformation omnipresent. By January 6th, the lines between online rhetoric and real-world action blurred, culminating in an attack that was orchestrated in part through these very platforms. Donald Trump's leadership style, marked by populist rhetoric, disdain for institutions, and an unwavering focus on personal loyalty, has parallels with authoritarian figures throughout history. Leaders who undermine democratic systems often rely on charismatic authority and exploit societal divisions to consolidate power. Trump's refusal to commit to a peaceful transfer of power and his calls to fight like hell on January 6th echoed the tactics of autocrats who incite their followers to challenge democratic norms. This leadership style not only emboldened the insurrectionists, but also signaled a dangerous shift in American politics toward authoritarianism, threatening the nation's democratic foundations. Conspiracy theories like QAnon and the Stop the Steal campaign were central to mobilizing the January 6th crowd. These theories painted a false narrative of widespread election fraud and a deep state cabal working against Trump. Historically, conspiracy theories have been used to delegitimize opposition and justify extreme actions. In the 20th century, McCarthyism weaponized fear of communism, while today's conspiracies target institutions like the media, judiciary, and even the military. The insurrection showcased how these unfounded beliefs can escalate from online chatter to violent action, underscoring the need for critical media literacy and accountability for those spreading falsehoods. The deep polarization in American society has created an environment ripe for conflict. The stark divide between political ideologies has been exacerbated by media outlets catering to specific audiences, creating parallel realities. This divide was evident on January 6th, where insurrectionists genuinely believed they were saving the nation from a stolen election. The polarization is not new. It echoes the divisions of the Civil War era, where differing visions of America's future led to conflict. Bridging this divide requires a recommitment to shared values and open dialogue, which are essential for a functioning democracy. Militia groups like the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys played a significant role in the January 6th insurrection. These groups, rooted in anti-government ideologies, have long been a threat to domestic security. Their participation on January 6th was not spontaneous. It was the result of months of coordination and recruitment, so we now find out. This mirrors historical examples of paramilitary groups used to intimidate and suppress opposition, such as during the Reconstruction era. Addressing the rise of these groups requires robust law enforcement action and policies that address the root causes of radicalization. The insurrectionists framed their actions as patriotic, a justification often used to mask authoritarianism. The conflation of nationalism with loyalty to a single leader undermines the principles of a democratic republic. Historically, authoritarian movements have co-opted patriotism to suppress dissent. The use of American flags alongside symbols of hate on January 6th exemplifies this dangerous trend. Reclaiming patriotism as a commitment to democratic ideals is crucial to countering this narrative. The lack of accountability for those who incited and participated in the insurrection sends a dangerous message. Historically, unpunished acts of political violence have emboldened future attempts, as seen during the rise of fascism in Europe. While some insurrectionists have faced legal consequences, the broader network of enablers, including elected officials, has largely escaped scrutiny. Ensuring accountability at all levels is essential to deter future threats to democracy. The January 6th insurrection has damaged America's reputation as a beacon of democracy. Authoritarian regimes worldwide have used it to discredit democratic systems, arguing that they are no longer effective or stable. This event underscores the interconnectedness of global politics. The decline of democracy in the U.S. has implications for freedom movements worldwide, making the fight for democratic principles more urgent than ever. The January 6th insurrection is a wake-up call for all who value democracy. It highlights the fragility of democratic systems and the need for constant vigilance. Restoring faith in democracy requires addressing systemic inequalities, promoting civic education, and fostering dialogue across ideological divides. It also requires holding those responsible for undermining democracy. The January 6th insurrection has damaged America's reputation as a beacon of democracy. Authoritarian regimes worldwide have used it to discredit democratic systems, arguing that they are no longer effective or stable. This event underscores the interconnectedness of global politics. The decline of democracy in the U.S. has implications for freedom movements worldwide, making the fight for democratic principles even more urgent than ever before. The January 6th insurrection serves as a wake-up call for the fragility of democracy, addressing the root causes from systemic racism and economic inequality to media disinformation and political polarization is essential for preventing future crises. Reforms must include strengthening electoral processes, regulating social media, and promoting civic education to foster an informed and engaged electorate. Above all, protecting democracy requires active participation from all citizens, a commitment to truth, and a shared vision for a just and equitable society. So as we close this special report, let us reflect on the fragility and resilience of democracy. January 6th was a warning, a stark reminder that democracy is not guaranteed. It must be protected, nurtured, and defended with vigilance. To our subscribers on the Global News Network, streaming here on YouTube and across the world, this is your call to action. Democracy thrives when citizens are informed, engaged, and united against divisive forces. In the United States and globally, we must commit to fostering equality, combating misinformation, and holding those in power accountable. Let us champion a world where diversity is celebrated and justice prevails. From all of us here at Japan Journal, thank you for joining us. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and most importantly, stay united in the fight to protect democracy. I'm your host, Mal Adams. Until next time, take care and be well. And I bid you sayonara from Japan. Good day.
Japan Journal, the world in focus. You've been inundated with headlines all week, but what truly matters? Japan Journal, the world in focus, dives into the story and gives you the clarity you need. Every week, veteran journalist and Hall of Fame broadcaster Mal Adams brings you expert insights, compelling narratives, and unique perspectives from Japan and beyond. Produced by Totown Communications Company Limited for GNN, the Global News Network, Japan Journal is the Internet's #1 English-language weekly online cybercast from Japan. Tune in and make sense of the world through the eyes of a 55-year broadcast veteran with a legacy of journalistic excellence. Subscribe now on YouTube and join our global community. You'll be glad you did.